great call. Thank you very much indeed. Apoplectic Daily Mail readers don't seem to understand that they can buy their newspapers elsewhere and read them. It's not censorship. It's not an attack on free speech. I get on Twitter anonymously. Oh, yes, it is. Tell me who you are. Ring up 0345 6060 973 and tell us that down the line. Paulette thinks on Facebook, another form of censorship by the people in a position to manipulate people's thinking. I can't call them the elite, as I find them somewhat lacking. Andy says, well, you can't argue that it goes against people's freedom because Virgin are exercising their freedom to stock the products they wish to stock. Andy, fine. But it is, I repeat, in my view, whether it's a private company or not, that train line to Manchester and elsewhere is a public service. And they could, as our previous caller have said, as a private company, have quietly withdrawn it. They've chosen to go to political war over it to try to make a point. They're very different things. Abbas is calling from Redbridge. Good evening.
Hi there. Good evening, Nigel. I'll be the brave one and phone up against your view, Nigel. I think it was Mark Twain.
Go for it.
Mark Twain who said that it is easy to fool people, and I think he said it's impossible, very difficult to convince people that they've been fooled. The reality is that I think we sometimes give too much credit to people being able to work out for themselves the reality of what is actually going on. The media have a very important and actually a very influential role in society. And I think going back to your point, which is that if an outlet promotes hatred, then yes, we should take action against that type of an organisation. And I think the Daily Mail actually does do that. And when we talk about...
Do you really?
Yes, I do. In fact, there was a story a few years ago, and I'm a Muslim, and there was a story a few years ago, and there's a lot of anti-Muslim sentiment in the Daily Mail anyway. But yeah, I have no problem if somebody wants to criticise my religion for whatever is truthful. But when you start making stuff up and cause hatred amongst the community, then that is dangerous. There was a story...
Abbas, is it... Abbas,
where there was a story...
Can I just ask you, Abbas?
The headlines... Sorry?
Can I just ask you something on this? Because it's a very important point. Is it anti-Muslim sentiment that you accuse the Daily Mail of, or anti-Muslim extremist sentiment?
No, anti-Muslim sentiment, because there was a story a few years ago which was Muslim stops cooking pork in cafe. That was the headline. Now, when you read the headline, obviously people say, oh, here we go again, Muslims imposing their religion on us Brits. You know, but the reality was, when you actually read the story, it wasn't that at all. The man cooking the pork was a Turkish Muslim cafe owner. And the woman who actually complained was a non-Muslim next door because he didn't have a license. And it's misleading headlines like that and stories like that I think do promote hatred in society.
Newspapers,
and they're not positive, and they're not good.
You could argue that whether they're writing about the Catholic Church, you know, something a vicar's done with one of his parishioners, and the number of times I've looked at articles about me and thought the headline, crikey O'Reilly. Then you read it, and it's completely different. I think the newspapers do have licence to write headlines that don't necessarily reflect the story. And do you know what, Abbas? They've been doing it for at least 150 years. They're not about to change. I certainly, you know, if there was a consistent campaign of singling, out a group in the community and genuinely inspiring hatred against them, then I would be with you. I don't think the Daily Mail does that. I know you do. I thank you for your point of view and your call. You're listening to the Nigel Farage Show, exclusively on LBC, live from Brussels, and we've got the news headlines now because it's 7:30 with Thomas Watts.